Okay, if I can have your attention, please, as we announced a little while ago, our top three in practice times from yesterday's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series first practice, come by the Media Center. And our second fastest in yesterday's practice, he'll be lining up on the front row for tomorrow's 44th Annual Aaron's 499. Martin Truex Jr., he drives the number 56 Napa Auto Parts Toyota for Michael Waltrip Racing. And Martin, you're a guy who is a accomplished restrictor plate racer, starting out on that front row here tomorrow at Talladega. Talk about that.
Yeah, it was a great qualifying lap. The guys did a great job, and the car was fast. So, yeah, we had a good plan in practice yesterday. Our car felt really good. Obviously, Gen 6 car, first time at Talladega. A lot of guys, kind of trying to figure it out. We expected it to be similar to Daytona, but it actually feels quite a bit different, which is interesting. So, we really don't know what to expect for tomorrow yet. The practicing here is never quite like it is in the race. You get in different positions. Guys tend to, be more aggressive in the race somewhat. And when you get all 43 cars out there in a pack, it changes quite a bit. So excited about the race tomorrow. Looking forward to learning a bunch all day and hopefully being able to apply all those things we learn all day at the end of the race and try to go to victory lane.
All right, we'll take some questions now from Martin. Martin will be joined by Marcus Ambrose and Carl Edwards here shortly, too. But raise your hand. We'll start right back here in the back. Please state your name, affiliation. One question, please. Right, go there, and then we'll go to Ed and then Reed. Go ahead.
Joe Medley with the Anderson Star. You said that the car feels actually different here from Daytona. How so?
Yeah, I thought that yesterday, practicing, it did some things differently. The biggest thing I noticed, and it's a different race car than we had at Daytona, so it could be partly there, but the car seemed to suck up and get runs a whole lot better, even when we were towards the front of the pack. So I think that's a great thing for what we'll see tomorrow in the race. I think it'll be, we're seeing quite a bit of single file racing at Daytona, and I don't expect the race here tomorrow to be quite that way. So I think that'll be a good thing for the fans, and it should put on a great show. It seemed like guys were really able to get a lot of runs and make a lot of stuff happen yesterday in practice. So it should be a lot of fun.
Before we get to Ed Hinton, let's hear from Marcos Ambrose. He was our third fastest in yesterday's opening practice. He drives the number 9 Stanley Ford, and Marcus must have a fast race car. Talk about your outlook for here tomorrow at the 44th Annual Aaron's 499.
Looking forward to it. We're all driving like idiots out there in that first practice, knowing it was probably going to rain today. And we just had to sort of just get a run and try to make something happen there. And I had the 56 behind me with Martin, and we had a good run after about 2 laps there, and we made the most of it. So it's good to be starting in the front. You always eliminate a lot of accidents if you can start at the front like that. So our plan tomorrow is to drive aggressive all day, try and stay up there. We know that track position is going to be a big thing for everybody, even though it's a plate race. There were definitely more runs yesterday, I thought, than what there was at Daytona as far as the cars, getting more speed to make things happen out there. So I think it's going to be a great race.
All right, let's resume questions. We'll go to Ed, and then we'll go to Reed, and then to Claire.
Ed Hinton, ESPN.com for both of you. Although these weren't individual time trials, and even though you couldn't exactly simulate race conditions, the fact that these practice speeds were set in the draft, is that really more of an indication of how the racing will go than if you had individual time trials?
Yes and no. I mean, I think that it was all about lap without having to check up or drag the brake or slow the car down. So it was all about getting a big run and trying to keep your momentum for one lap, and obviously we were able to do that in the beginning of practice. So that's why you've seen the beginning of practice yesterday was kind of crazy. It's something we never see, and I think we ran the first 3 laps half throttle, and everybody was trying to figure out a way to get to the back of the pack so they could get that run, and we fortunately were able to be in that position. So yes and no. Like I said, I think that a lot of guys didn't try to get the big lap. They didn't try to hang back and get that big run. They were just worried about working on the cars tomorrow, because to be honest, where you start here doesn't really matter. We could be, we're starting second. We could be 25th, coming around to take the first lap. So it's just plate racing. You know, the guys will be coming and going all day long. The field's like a big revolving door, and you just got to be in the right position at the right time.
Reed?
Reed Spencer with the NASCAR Wire Service for both Marcos and Martin. As a follow-up to that, knowing the forecast, how much did you guys change your practice plan going into first practice, knowing that it was probably going to rain out the qualifying?
From our perspective, we just knew that getting a lap time early when the pack was the biggest was going to be the way to go about the practice. We didn't change the car any for that. We just tried to position ourselves, you know, not at the very back of the line, but we tried to hang back until the pack started really moving. And I saw Martin coming with a few cars, and I thought that was a good opportunity for us to get that run into the pack and carry the momentum that you needed to. So I think it was really just a strategy game rather than a car change, you know, changing the car setup to do it. I think there was probably half the field were on that plan, and the other half really didn't care for it and were just kind of cruising around or weren't even out there. So traditionally the biggest pack is at the start of practice one here. And you saw that if you know, if there was a 30-car pack at the end of practice there yesterday, it would have been a very different order. You know, we were just watching how it was all going down. I think Carl did a really good job actually to get back out there and set a fast lap at the end because I didn't expect that, and I'm sure that you know, he got a great run and there was just enough cars out there to get it done.
Let's go to Claire and then to Roger.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. How weird is that when you're going out? Some people describe it as a slow race, but what is it like in that practice session for both of you when you know what's on the line for the qualifying / race starting lineup, but it's got to feel sort of strange or be unusual from inside the car?
Yeah, it was like the calm before the storm. You know, you're out there riding around half throttle, and it's like, okay, when's everybody going to go? And you know, it's going to get crazy. It did, because there's cars going such different speeds. Guys were still checking up a little bit, trying to get to the back. We were coming with a run, so it was like, you know, a lot of different speeds out there. Guys seemed like 20, 30 miles an hour off the pace when we had the big run on the, I guess it was like the third or fourth lap. So it was definitely kind of crazy, and we've seen that throughout the first, you know, 5 or 10 minutes of practice. It was interesting.
Yeah, same. I mean, you knew what you needed to do, and everyone was trying to do exactly the same thing. So you just had to choose when to go. And after we, you know, Martin and I set the fast lap out there, we stayed out for another 4 or 5 laps because we didn't know if the pack was going to go faster or if it was going to get organised to have another shot at it. So you know, I stayed out there for a while, just making sure that we weren't going to get, you know, superseded by the pack getting organised, because it was unorganised out there. Normally you get out there and you get lined up on the backstretch and you just start running, but it took us 2 or 3 laps to really get up to speed because everybody was trying to get to the back.
Roger?
Roger Holtzpaul, SpeedwayMedia.com. This is for either one of you. When you got to do the practice yesterday, since it's the first time here with the Gen 6 car, did you find that the car felt a lot different in a big pack as compared to the COT?
Your turn.
All right. Yeah, it's the same Talladega as what I have experienced here before. You know, the cars get buffeted around a lot, these Gen 6 cars in the draft. For me and my package, you know, the tail can get moved around just a little bit with packing air to the side of the car. It doesn't necessarily make it loose. It just, you know, can slow it down or give it some buffeting effect. So I was impressed yesterday compared to Daytona that we were able to do more things out there. We were able to get runs and side draft and make progress out there, which I think at Daytona was difficult for us. Whether the drivers are just getting better at learning these cars and making them work, I don't know. But for me, I felt more racy out there than I expected as far as, you know, cars coming and going and making things happen.
Other questions? Raise your hand. Anybody? Got one right over here? Go ahead, sir.
Matt Weaver, SBNation.com. This is for both of you guys. With the forecast looking kind of spotty for tomorrow, with the rain kind of coming off and on, how aggressive can you guys afford to be early on, knowing that, you know, the big one could happen, but you've got to be out front if you are, you know, past halfway? What's the balance there between being aggressive and being conservative?
I think based on what we learned at Daytona, you want to be at the front. coming in here, my thought was, I've tried the riding around in the middle of the pack, towards the back of the pack, trying to stay safe till the end, and it's never worked out. So my plan coming in here was to be aggressive, to try to stay up front all day long. We did that at Daytona, and it worked out for us until we had our engine problem late in the race. I think a lot of guys, based on what I've been hearing and reading throughout the week, I think a lot of guys are on that same program. They're the chances here of getting in a wreck are great, so why not just go out and race and put on a show and try to run up front all day long? I think that's our plan, that's our strategy and what we're going to do. So, we're going to try to stay up front all day and hopefully lead some laps and have some fun out there and hopefully make it to the end when it counts.